What is good? Osiris here, stuck in the middle again for an unscheduled floating head segment. There is a lot of chaos happening in New York in particular right now, also happened in Beverly Hills as well. And this is stemming from pro Israel groups clashing with pro Palestine groups. What I'm going to talk about here has nothing to do with the Middle East. I want to talk about what has emboldened the attacks that we've seen, at least the videos that I've seen, tell me if you've seen something else, have all been agitated by the pro Palestinian side. I want to talk about what has emboldened that side. I don't want to talk about the Middle East conflict. I want to talk about why are we seeing people emboldened to turn to violence and chaos in the streets of our country. Let me start playing some of this. We're seeing young kids out here. This is in Times Square. Does it look like there's enough police presence out there? I don't see enough. They are clearly unable to handle the unrest. We are in dangerous times. Civil unrest has become a part of our culture. Violence is justified as long as your cause comes from the left. That's the only reason they feel emboldened to do this. There are no center or right-leaning organizations that could go out in the streets of New York and get away with this. Or you far right, not even, I don't even consider the far right right. But there are no non-left organizations or groups that could get away with going in the streets and instigating violence like that. None. It would be squashed like that, as it should be. When we see violence like this, condemnation is split between party lines. We're not using any common sense, or we're not standing on principles. If we allow protests that break the law, threaten fellow citizens, cause terror, we allow that simply because of the political angle, then any protesters, any group can use their angle coming from the left as cover to embolden themselves for this type of nonsense. Now you're connecting the dots to see why I am so amped up about Antifa. Now you're connecting the dots on why when we allow Antifa to use Black Lives Matter as a cover, or if we even allow Black Lives Matter to be a cover for looters or rioters, and they never condemn this stuff. I haven't seen it, at least. Please correct me if I've looked for it, I haven't seen it. I saw Ilhan Omar condemned it on Twitter. It's rare to see this condemned. But notice, Black Lives Matter came out and publicly supported Palestine. What the hell does that have to do with Black Lives Mattering? That's a political stance. That has nothing to do with Black Lives Matter, has nothing to do with their core of policing or anything. Why are they standing up for? I'm not saying I'm not taking sides in the Middle East. I just don't understand how an organization with that label is taking that side. What they're doing is providing cover for this. That's what they're doing. Black Lives Matter is supporting this. Have they spoken out against it? If they can come out and support Palestine, they can come out and say, no, this violence we're seeing in the street is uncalled for. That's actually their duty if you're going to speak out. Why haven't they spoken out? Do any prominent Democrats denounce Antifa or Black Lives Matter violence? Why not? That's why Antifa uses Black Lives Matter, indigenous people, anything on the left that has energy to cover for their apolitical nonsense. The violence that you're seeing here in the streets of New York is going to be perceived as coming from the left. And I believe they feel emboldened by that. That's the problem of when politicians go after January 6th with such fervor and passion, and they don't have 1/millionth of that energy for anything else, because the perception is, and that's true, that January 6th came from the right, and we've got to stop that. The stuff from the left, I like that call. They tend to be Democrat voters. So we've changed the country, and this is where we're falling apart. We're ripping the country apart. This violence is not about the Middle East, what's emboldening them to do this violence. We're raising our children in a new culture of, if you're coming from the left, the ends always justify the means. There's a reason why in corporate America, you can't go to work at most companies wearing a shirt that says Black Lives Matter. You can't do that. Like, you can't work at Chick-fil-A and be wearing a shirt that says Black Lives Matter. The reason for that is, well, if you wear a shirt that says Black Lives Matter, then we would have to allow someone who says White Lives Matter. You don't get to pick and choose just because you agree with the cause and you don't. We would have to let someone wear a MAGA t-shirt. Brandon Tatum has some cool Trump shirts. I would never wear one, but I think they're cool. Like, he has one with like Trump's head on Tupac's body. But so you would, if you allowed someone to wear a Black Lives Matter t-shirt, you would have to allow another coworker to wear a Trump head on Tupac's body shirt. If you allow Colin Kaepernick to take a knee for what he thinks is a just cause, holding America accountable, then hey, I'm mad that cancer isn't cured. I want to take a knee. I'm mad that we haven't converted over to electric vehicles. I want to take a knee. I'm mad that white people seem to be attacked in the world right now. I'm going to get a bunch of white people and we want to take a knee. If you allow one, you allow them all. If you allow Black Lives Matter protests to turn into violence and Antifa, then you allow this. Like, how can you condemn this and then celebrate violence associated with the Antifa or Black Lives Matter, or ignore it? They're trying to get the same protection. If we don't start standing on principles, regardless of politics, this is only the beginning. People copy, people will mimic what works. Don't think this mob won't come for you one day if we allow it. All they have to do is come from the left with what they consider a just cause, and there you go. Does it look like they have this under control? What country is this? You can't pick and choose the cause, and you can't be tied into these political parties. Take care.